Equal weight S&P 500, all world stocks, Europe, Dow Jones, as well as high yield bonds all hit record highs this week. We'll also, as a result of all of this, examine whether or not the stocks are in immediate danger of a pullback. And pandemic memories are resurfacing again with monkeypox news out of Africa, also known as Mpox. The vaccine maker and Zoom video both pop higher, perhaps on this news, I don't know. Dollar sinks towards 52-week lows as gold hit records. We will look at that as well. All this and more in today's edition of MasterChartsTrading.com. Market recap for Friday, August 23rd, 2024. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, make a comment, share this video. If you're not yet a subscriber, consider signing up by going to MasterChartsTrading.com. You can also follow the link in the description. You can sign up for my indicators as well as for the various ETFs and stocks and securities that we trade. I send out the daily alerts on those. So if you're not a subscriber, we'll look at all of these various securities in the members only video. Market breadth, Donald Trump, media and media. Donald Trump media is the stock, but elections implications based on price action will be covered in the members only video. We'll also cover Bitcoin, Solara, some of the cryptocurrencies, and crude oil in the members only section as well as various speculative securities and gold related. Alright, let's get started. So today I want to start slightly unusual. I want to look at equal weight ETF. So the ticker symbol is RSP. RSP, it means, this ticker just means that all stocks within the S&P 500, all 500 stocks, are treated equally. So about like 0 point something percent we can actually RSP holdings. We can look at what they have, and you can understand what I'm referring to here. So you can see that basically all of the stocks within the S&P 500 are about 0.25%. By extension, this means equal weight. Equal weight S&P 500 just hit an all-time high. There it is today. You can also look on the weekly chart. Weekly just means that each candlestick is a week's worth of activity. This is an all-time high for equal weight ETF. So this whole pullback, let's look at the S&P 500. So notice this pullback that began in July, mid-July, and then kind of bottomed on 5th of August, and then just skyrocketed in a V-shaped pattern towards new records in this channel-like fashion. So this whole pullback, notice this, between the 16th of July and 5th of August on RSP, on the equal weight ETF, notice it was actually quite shallow, and now we're making new records. So what does that mean? This means that an average stock within the S&P 500 actually is doing quite well if it's hitting all-time highs. Now you have to realize that not all stocks within the S&P 500 are large caps, or for that matter mega caps. Some of them are, medium, relatively small caps, and this to me screams for the fact that we are in bull market. We're gonna continue being in a bull market for a while longer, and looking for top is quite scary and difficult in a bull market. So for now, I want to look at this as a confirmation that we're most likely done with this corrective action, whatever little corrective action we did see. Additional confirmation of this is the fact that we are seeing this happen worldwide. So here's, for example, VGK European stocks, and they also hit an all-time high actually 2 days ago on August 21st on Wednesday, and continued hitting new records as well. So Europe is doing quite well. We can also look at VEU, ticker symbol VEU, which is all world except United States. Once again, also we just hit an all-time high. But I think the most telling of all of the charts that I just showed you is this chart, is this for JNK, high yield bonds. So very briefly, high yield bonds, JNK, and S&P 500, they have high degree of correlation. Let me just show it to you. So here is JNK in the upper pane here, and down below here is a correlation coefficient to the S&P 500. Notice that it is very positive, and that means that whatever high yield bonds are doing, stocks are also more or less doing, and vice versa. So notice this pullback that you can barely see it on the 1st of August. That's the high, that was the previous high, and it pulled back literally 2-3 days into August 5th, and it barely even got to this green support resistance line. We were just not even close to the blue line, which is where I would consider buying it. I mean, notice the previous opportunity in October of 2023. Now, this whole pullback basically was 3 days, and in about a week we started to make new records. So right there on the 13th of August and until now, high yield bonds basically did nothing but make new records. So to me, this shows a bullish divergence. In other words, high yield bonds are leading the stocks higher. And this began on 13th of August. So let's look at what happened on 13th of August for S&P 500. So on 13th of August, we were still below even August 1st highs for S&P 500. So you notice that even up till now, we still haven't yet hit an all-time high for S&P 500. However, junk that high yield bonds did indeed do that and continued higher. So once again, this is a bullish divergence in my book, and I think this is clearly a positive sign for stocks. I think S&P 500 will hit records, and this has already been I just showed you that the equal weight, the Europe, the world, and the high yield bonds all hit records. Additionally, Dow Jones, here's DIA, has closed at new records. So we are very, very close to new all-time highs. So this strength is not only in small caps, it's also in large caps. So in other words, it's a very broad participation in the market advance. And when we're bullish, we think that the stocks will continue higher. We want this participation to be as broad as possible, and indeed this is what's happening right now. We're seeing broad participation in the markets. Here is small caps, IWM also recovering quite sharply, and this again shows that small caps, there's 2,000 stocks in this index IWM. Notice this large move higher, so participation is very good, in other words. So we're waiting basically for S&P 500 itself to hit all-time highs. We're very close. I think they will be hit next week. I kept thinking that maybe this is a rising wedge. I kind of drew it in. So far, this rising wedge, if it is indeed rising wedge, I don't really trade using those, but many people see them. If this is indeed the rising wedge, then a break of this lower bound might precipitate a pullback, but first of all, so far it hasn't happened, and secondly, we could continue higher, make new records, and only then pull back. And once we make new records, we don't know how high we're gonna go. We could continue higher another 10% after the new records are made, and only then pull back. So to try to find the top in the bull market is quite difficult, and that's why we're sort of avoiding doing that. We're just looking at where is the good opportunity to buy. So for example, my previous great opportunity to buy was back in October of the last year, so close to a year ago, and the reason is because we pulled back towards the blue support resistance line. You can find out more about those lines by going into the description. And this is basically where the risk is relatively low, and we want to jump in on a trend at that point. And notice that we are super correct. Basically, we just continued higher until very recently, and now we're again most likely gonna hit new records. Okay, I wanted to briefly touch upon a stock which I cannot trade since we're in the United States here, and that is Bavarian Nordic. So if you have heard on the news, there is now a Mpox, also known as monkeypox, but for some reason people don't like the word monkey because they think it's like, I don't know, funny somehow. But this is actually quite bad. The monkeypox, Mpox, is related to chickenpox, I believe, and to smallpox, and smallpox is quite deadly, and monkeypox is also quite deadly. You know, I don't remember exact percentage, but something as much as 10% of people die without medical care. So it is serious indeed. This is a Bavarian Nordic stock, and I believe it's from either, I think it's Danish kroners. Yes, Denmark. So it's tradable there. So Bavarian Nordic, I mean, nobody knew about this stock and nothing is happening until very recently. Notice what was started to happen right there where I'm hovering on the 26th of June of this year. We're seeing a breakout, and then we're seeing opportunities to buy basically around the blue line. So right now you can see that the stock has doubled. It was around 150 and went as high as 300. Oh, well, that's pretty significant run. So why is this happening? Why did the stock, double? Well, it's one of the, I think, if not the only manufacturer in the world for the vaccines. But it's also kind of like, to me, it's pretty scary proposition to have a pox virus circulate in the modern world with all the airplanes. And you guys lived through the pandemic, you know how it is. Now the pandemic was different because the virus back then, the COVID virus, was transmissible through air. It was airborne. This thing, the monkeypox, luckily it's transmissible. Like, you need to be very close to a person. Like, you need to be hugging them, you need to be kissing, or maybe using utensils after them, something of that nature. So it's not as transmissible. Nevertheless, it's pretty nasty. So you don't want to be, definitely don't want to be infected. So yeah, you want to be watching out for that. Now, additionally, I'm looking right now at Zoom video communication, and if you remember, during the pandemic, we had basically children growing up through during the pandemic using Zoom to study, using Zoom to communicate. Some of them even call them Zoomers, that generation. Now all of a sudden we have Zoom videos really popped higher. Here it is on the weekly time frame. I'm gonna zoom in. So notice that it's like nobody cared about it since 2022 probably. Notice there's just nothing is happening. There was an attempt to break out right there in February of this year, but it kind of failed, and now we see a second attempt at this breakout. So this is a weekly chart. Notice that we have closed above this blue support resistance line. This is a signal to buy, basically, per my system. So my worry, of course, is that we might have again lockdowns. Hopefully not, but you never know. I'm just putting it out there, and I'm basing these ideas mostly on the price action and secondarily on the news. All right, let's move on to the currency world, Forex universe. Here is Euro versus US dollar. So notice that what's happening here is Euro versus US dollar currency pair became in favor of Euro, where I'm hovering on the 12th of July of this year. Basically, I sent an alert out on the 16th of July. And finally, the target that we set, usually about around the green line, finally was reached on the 14th of August, so not that far off. And now you can see that if you trade Forex, you will know that this is a very nice gain. This is a 300 pips. 300 pips gain, 2.8% move for Euro versus the US dollar. So this is the type of trade sometimes we get here at Master Charts Trading. And Euro versus US dollar moving higher implies the dollar is dropping. So let's look at the dollar, and there is the dollar. Dollar entered a new downtrend on the 5th of August, where I'm hovering, and it basically collapsed afterwards to close at a new low for the move. On the weekly time frame, here's DXY in the weekly time frame, you can see that the price currently is retesting this lows from 2023. I don't know if it's gonna hold. I really actually doubt that this low will hold, and the next low is right there from July of 2023. Then that would imply that we're seeing new 52-week lows once the December 2023 lows are broken. The thing is that if this lows from July 2023 are also breached, you can see that there's very little support. Maybe there is some support where I'm hovering around January 2022 lows, but you can see that's a significant drop. So very little support. There's decent support perhaps like around 92.6 levels, which is the levels where we were buying it back in July of 2021. There's this big run in favor of US dollar. So right now we're seeing dollar in a new downtrend, and by extension it implies a rally or strength for gold. So here is gold again on the weekly time frame. So gold divided by US dollar. US dollar is getting smaller. US dollar is getting weaker. Notice US dollar is getting weaker. This bottom part of this equation is getting smaller, and that means that gold is moving higher as a result. So we just hit an all-time record for gold. You can see again upward facing arrows. So we were buying it right around the blue support resistance line, and now my subscribers are enjoying the benefits of this system. Of course, we were also buying various gold miners. So for example, here's Royal Gold. I personally bought it. I personally own Royal Gold. There it is. I bought in June of this year. How did I know to buy it there? I simply look at the lines. So I see a break. This was the initial breakout. So first Royal Gold was below this yellow line. Then we can see an initial breakout here in May of this year. I actually bought it, made a little money. We got another pullback, another opportunity to buy. I bought it again here in June of this year, and now we have very nice run towards 52-week highs, possibly all-time highs. We're actually approaching all-time highs. So, for example, this security, you can see we had multiple attempts back in 2020, again 2022, 2023, and now again in 2024 to break towards new all-time highs. So you can see we're breaking out above the previous peaks, and I think if that happens, for example, for Royal Gold, I think we can see a significant level, a significant move higher. So if this is the estimation of depth of this pattern, you can kind of see this upside down W or something, then we can see a move higher for Royal Gold, pretty high up still, another 30-some% higher. Hopefully we'll go that high. All right, I believe that's it for this week's recap. If you are not yet a subscriber, consider signing up by going to MasterChartsTrading.com. I have two products and one combination. So trading indicators are these lines on the chart. This green, blue, red, and yellow line. You can have them for TradingView.com. TradingView.com is a free interface. And once you sign up on TradingView.com, I will open the door for you to have these lines on your chart. You can trade pretty much anything under the sun. The newsletter is a daily newsletter as well as weekly members-only video. I send out about the various securities that we trade throughout the week. So, for example, this week we will look at all of these various securities. Bitcoin, Solara, various ETFs like airlines, China, large cap stocks like Pfizer, PayPal, as well as speculative securities. You can see there's so many more of them, like Alibaba, Rexford, Maravai, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Sun Nova, and Peloton, a very interesting pattern, as well as Victoria's Secret, and of course gold-related ones as well that we trade. And of course, the best deal is to get both trading indicators and newsletters. I think the best deal is to get the yearly subscription, and it's equivalent to $49.95 per month. You can also get monthly subscriptions at a slightly higher price. That's it for this week's recap. Again, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and have another great trading week.